Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Faulty. You're either watching this on my Facebook channel or my YouTube channel, my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, which is called Lady Faulty's Light Healing. And today we're going to talk about our third eye, the fundamentals of it. Next week we will talk about different types of tools you can use if you're working on opening or balancing your third eye. We'll get into the gemstones, the herbs, gods, deities, archetypes, tarot cards, all of that stuff next week. This week it's just a little bit of an overview of what your third eye is, where it is, and kind of what it does. So before we get started, I do want to just kind of smudge here a little bit. It's allergy season here for me. Oops. That lighter's dead. For some reason I don't want to throw it away. New lighter. So I hope everybody had good week so far. Our weather here is, so right now it's like really hot and muggy at night, and then you wake up in the morning and it's freezing. So last night I went to bed and I was hot and sticky and yucky, and then you leave all the windows open and everything, and then you get up in the morning and right now it's like freezing in here. Yes, it's like 60 something in here. So to me that's freezing. But it is also allergy season. So just take in some of that. This was a bundle that wasn't lighting good anymore, so I took the bundle apart. So all these pieces here, because I didn't want to throw it away because there's obviously lots of good sage there to still burn. So I took it apart so that I could use it that way. And there's still lots and lots of good material there. So just feeling the need to do a little extra this morning here for some reason. So I'm going to follow that because part of your third eye is following your intuition and paying attention to that, which is very hard for most of us. So just going to get everything super clear here. All right, so I'm going to let that just kind of keep burning in the shell here. So you might see the smoke going by the screen, so I'm not putting it out. I'm going to go ahead and let it burn for a little while. So third eye fundamentals. What are third eye fundamentals, right? Little birds in the background are chirping this morning. So your third eye, let me grab the book here. I do this every time, put the book away after. This is the book that I have been using to go over our chakra stuff. So if you've found it interesting at all, you could go ahead and get the book. They're like $20 on Amazon, I think. But this right here. So the middle of your forehead is where your third eye. You know, most people go right here. It's probably just a little bit up from there. But if you don't get the exact spot, it's not like it's not going to work. You know, I move my mouse. It's right in the middle of my screen. You can't see it, but it's bothering me. So yeah, so third eye is right up there. And this is the book, like I said, that I've been using. So if you find this interesting and want more, because obviously I only go over in my video, I only go over a small little bit of the book. I can't go over everything in the whole book, but I give you the basics real quick. But if you wanted it as a reference or to get more information or anything, that's the book that I've been using. So third eye is right about here. And we've talked before about crystals and the colors. You can see on that picture there was a color, a color for each chakra. And if you don't know the colors for the chakra, you can Google it. There's like a bazillion different pictures out there on Google Land that you can pull up if you want. Save it on your phone, make it your desktop screensaver or whatever. Print it out. Any of those options are fine. When people first start working with crystals, that go off topic a little bit here, but they always say, like, I don't know what this crystal does. And my quick answer is align it to the chakra. So if you don't know anything really about crystals, you can align it to the chakra. So any one of these crystals you pull out. So this is like a brown red. So that would go to your root chakra. Let's see here. Black is your Earth Star chakra. See if I can pick up something different here. This is like, I don't know, it's pinkish purple. So I would say that's going to go to your crown chakra. Yellow is your solar plexus chakra. So you get the point. So you can pick the color of the crystal and align it with the chakra, and then you can align, if you're having some sort of physical pain, to where that chakra is, or if it's an emotional pain, then it would be your heart chakra, and then you would want to work with your green stones. So just a little quick reference there. If you are new to crystals and you don't really know what to use them for, the colors can line up with the chakras, and your chakras, you can locate your pain or your emotional and kind of work with it from there. So, wow, that is really still going. So, needed some good clearing, I guess, today. So your third eye is, I wrote down and underlined it, the seat of your intention. Not your intention, your intuition, sorry. The seat of your intuition is your third eye. So when your third eye is open, sorry, I feel like I have a hair now. I'm a mess this morning, I guess. When your third eye is open, you are able to receive all kinds of different energies. In the book, one of the things she used to describe it is like when your third eye is open, it's like having the tail of a peacock with all those eyes that are seeing all the different views and all the different things and from all the different angles and all the different possibilities. And that is part of having your third eye open. Gosh, this is almost making too much now. It's going right in my face. When it's blocked, it's going to be more of a feeling of being unclear, unfocused, and just kind of out of touch with being able to sense what's kind of happening around you. Maybe you met people that you're just like, they have no clue what is going on. Even like in their own lives, they just don't know. They're not aware of their surroundings. They're not really aware of other people or what's going on. Not like they're drunk kind of thing. They're just they don't pick up on things like a lot of other people do. Um, so, and part of it is really hard. Well, all of it's really hard, but it's not impossible. Is when your third eye is open, a lot of times we, as people, kind of shut it down ourselves because we've been taught over time to not follow our intuition, that we need to be logical and we need to think things through and we need to have a plan and we need to have a backup plan and we need to think of all the possibilities and have a plan for all those. And we're very math, science, and logical is the way we have been raised over the last few centuries. It didn't used to always be that way, but so we have been taught to kind of shut that intuition off, not listen to it, not pay attention to it, and go with a more logical, proven, mathematical, scientific kind of way of thinking things through, and not listening to that. So a lot of times, even when our intuition does start to come to us, a lot of people are either just shut it down naturally. When it really starts to come to us, some people are afraid. They don't know what's going on. They think they're going crazy. They think they're mentally insane. And I think there's a lot of people that have been diagnosed with mental disorders that they're not. They have some sort of intuition, some sort of gift, and we'll talk about those in just a few minutes. But that has come awakened is kind of the term that people use. So again, open is kind of like that peacock tail where lots of eyes, lots of things you can see, lots of possibilities, seeing things from all different angles and all different views, and just being really super aware of what's going around us in all kinds of different ways. And blocked is, again, just kind of unfocused and unclear and not really picking up on things that are happening around us. Kind of like a clueless person. So the third eye chakra, one of the things that's a little different with this one is most people will, but most people can go through life with their third eye chakra blocked. And it's not really going to affect their life a whole lot. Where if your sacral is blocked, that has a lot to do with your passion and your desire and things like that. And people, want to know what's going on with that. If your heart chakra is blocked and you're not finding love, a lot of people, will want to know about that and want to, maybe not in the chakra sense, but they'll want to either somehow improve themselves or be better or, fix the problem, so to speak. Where if your third eye is not open, there's a lot of people that are just perfectly fine with that and will go on living a normal, for them, life. It's not going to be disastrous, where if your sacral chakra or things like that are blocked, it's going to have some sort of effect in your everyday life. Where your third eye chakra is blocked, it's really not going to affect your everyday life in a negative, way, so to speak. Sorry, my legs are uncomfortable. I am just a mess today. So most people will want to work on those other chakras, even though they may not call it a chakra. They may do something to help improve themselves, whether it's self-help videos or reading books or whatever. They are working on their chakras. They just may not realize that's exactly what they're doing. But again, third eye chakra, people will go through their life and not really be aware that their third eye chakra is blocked. So most people who are more a little bit more aware, I guess is the, I don't know if that's really what, but I guess for me this is true, and this is, I took this from the book, but it rings true for me. A lot of times people start to reach their 30s, their 40s, or their 50s, sometimes older, sometimes younger. Depends on your surroundings and how you were raised. But for me, I was not raised in a metaphysical kind of a family. My parents, my mom, her parents were very much into the church, and my mom went to church and when she was younger. She didn't when she got older, but so we weren't super church type, but we weren't metaphysical type either. So I really wasn't just really raised in any type of religious, really. I mean, I was raised Methodist. When I was really little, I went to Sunday school. But anyhow, it wasn't a big religious family. It wasn't like we went to church every Sunday. We went to all the church functions or anything like that. We went to church once in a while when I was younger, and I went to Sunday school when I was younger. But I wasn't raised super religious, but I wasn't raised in a metaphysical way either, which I think more people are doing that now, which is really nice, to kind of give their children the option of, this is all the things you can believe in, and then you can go now choose what fits for you. But anyway, most people get around midlife, we'll just call it that, and they'll start to have a little bit more of questions of what is life about, what is death about, what is consciousness about. So again, they might not really realize that when they're starting out that journey, that they might not realize that they're not going to just go into it and be like, I need to open my third eye. They generally start with questions of the meanings of life, what happens after we die, things of that sort. That will start them on that journey of doing some third eye work. The other thing that happens as well is what I was saying is awakened. Some of us are awakened. Some people call it activated, where even though we've kind of suppressed these gifts or not realized we've had these gifts, at some point they kind of come out for us. Some of them are a lot more obvious than others. Some of them are much harder to ignore than others. But for me, it was very small things, very subtle things that I was paying attention to, and again started to kind of question, well, what could that be, and what might be causing that, or do you think it could be this? And again, I'm always full of questions, and even though you give me 500 answers, I'll still have more questions. That's just kind of who I am and how I work. But Sagittarius in me is always wanting to know more and learn more and have more answers. But yeah, so that's kind of the two things that kind of start people on the third eye chakra. Again, even though they may not necessarily know that's exactly what they're doing. But usually it's people who get to kind of like a midlife age and start to question just the meaning of life and death and all of that. Or it's somebody who their gift is kind of pushing through. And sometimes, actually I think a lot of times, we have them as children, and again, we are taught to ignore them, not pay attention to them. If we told our parents that we were seeing people, oh, he's got an imaginary friend, how cute. And then at some age, they tell you that you can't have an imaginary friend anymore. And, we kind of turn these things off. We ignore them and kind of block off our own third eye chakra, without really realizing that's what we're doing. So when your third eye is open, there's really no boundaries of what can happen. We've talked about in the other chakra videos how your chakras could be over active. And again, that I didn't write down a whole lot about the third eye being overactive, but it is possible for it to be overactive, and you're just receiving so much stuff that you don't really know what's going on, and it's kind of freaking you out. And again, I think some of those are may have been people, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not making any diagnosis or anything. It's just my opinion that I think a lot of people that have been diagnosed with mental disorders of one sort or another are actually people whose third eye is fairly wide open, and they're receiving a lot of either downloads or messages or what have you, and they don't really know what to do with it or how to process it, or and things like that, and it ends up being diagnosed as mental disorders. That doesn't mean I don't think there are true mental disorders out there. I do. I just think they're connected somehow. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Not diagnosing anyone. I'm not saying if you have a mental disorder to stop going to your doctor or stop taking your medicine or anything like that. I'm just putting it out there that there may be a connection there for you, and if that feels right and that sounds right to you, then maybe it's something you want to pursue further and do some research of your own for it. Okay, I want to be very clear when we talk about things where people are taking medicines and whatnot, that I am not the person on the screen telling you that we don't need modern medicine and stop taking all your stuff. So that's not what I'm going with there. I have opinions on all of that, but that's not what we're talking about today. So what have I got written down here? So I've written when your third eye is open, you have enhanced visions and insight. And again, that can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Not everybody's gifts are the same. My theory on all of it is that there isn't somebody that has one gift and somebody has another gift, so to speak. I believe we all have the same abilities, just some of us are naturally better at ones than other ones. Just like some people are naturally gifted at painting. I couldn't paint a picture to save my life. Some people are naturally gifted singers. I could not sing if I had to. Nobody would enjoy it at all. Excuse me. So that's the way I look at the psychic abilities that we are all capable of, but that just some of us are naturally better, for lack of a word. It comes easier to some than others. So I believe we all have the ability to paint, but somebody may just be able to pick up a paintbrush and paint a beautiful picture, where I would probably have to take some classes and practice and, really put my effort into it to make a painting. And I think that's very much how it is with these psychic abilities. I think we all have the ability to do all of the different psychic things that are out there. Some people it just comes very natural to, and other people need to work on it a little bit. And I think the thing is to kind of figure out what thing it is that comes easiest to you and start there. And then by maybe enhancing that, then some of the other abilities will follow suit. So, but again, we're going to get into those in just a minute. All right. So again, just third eye, and when I say sight, I don't necessarily mean eyesight. That is different. I got a hair on my mouth somewhere. Eyesight and your third eyesight is different sights. So your third eyesight, again, we're going to get into the different types of sights for that in just a second, but I'm not talking about your actual eyesight. Okay. So I'm just going over my notes here real quickly. So we covered the we're not taught to understand our third eye. We talked about that a little bit. It's very much about, okay, so where I just said it's not about your eyesight, it's more about sensing. So I'm trying to think of how I can explain that a little bit better, but again, it's just trusting is really a big thing, and we've been taught that we need proof. Ghosts can't be real, we don't have a picture of them. Things like that. Fairies, Bigfoot, all that stuff can't be real, we don't have a picture of them. We don't have a body, we don't have something to dissect, we don't have something we can physically touch. So all of those things over the years that we've been taught, we kind of have to unteach ourselves and go with the more of the thought of anything and everything is possible. I mean, people believe in, Jesus Christ, God. You can't see him, you can't touch him. So I don't know why it's so much harder for some people to believe in other gods, other deities, other possibilities in the world, such as spirits, such as other realms. And again, I can go on and on about that, but it's more about sensing it. And part of sensing it is opening up yourself to the possibilities that they're even out there. If we just right off Bigfoot is not real. Okay, maybe Bigfoot's not real. I don't know. Maybe he is real. I'm not going to go out in the woods looking for him, but I'm not going to say just because I've never seen one doesn't mean that I know he's not real, because I don't know if he's real or not. Just like I don't know if fairies are real or not, I do believe I had a fairy encounter a few years back, but I'm not really sure. So it's a possibility. So again, it's sensing, it's trusting that, and I know that's really, really hard for some people. What I was just saying, a few years back, I'm pretty sure I had a fairy encounter, but there would be people that would be like, no, it wasn't that. And then you question yourself, and then you doubt yourself, and then you talk yourself out of it. And go, oh, they're probably right, it probably wasn't that. So we often are the cause, we are the cause of our own blocked chakras, because you have the potential to unblock and balance any of your chakras. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of work. But When your third eye is open, not only are you able to receive more coming in, you can actually work with that and actually make it so that you can actually retrieve information. You know, when you go to see a psychic or a medium or, you know, tarot card readers and things like that, they're actually, they've opened up to receive, but some of them have even got the ability to reach out and kind of retrieve it and pull that in and get that information for you, even when somebody's not just there to send it, to actually, you know, connect and reach out and retrieve things as well. So again, I wrote becomes more magical, more inspired. I definitely think since I have been working on all of this, I've definitely been very inspired. But again, I'm Sagittarius and I always want to know more information all the time. But every book I read, every video I watch, everything that I learn inspires me and pushes me to want to know even more. Inspires me to share more, inspires me to be more open about who I am and what I do with other people. I had a really interesting, for me anyway, conversation with somebody this week that I think is a very talented human being and doesn't quite have, I don't know, maybe his throat chakra is a little blocked. I don't want to be diagnosing, so to speak, anybody, but was a little leery about talking about things to other people. And I kind of, you know, pushed him, hopefully, maybe a little bit, to speaking out a little bit about more who he is to other people, and that maybe he'll find that more people are open to him. He's a business owner, so I know that gets tricky. You don't want to do something that's going to hurt your business. But I think there are a lot more people that are open to things that he would like to do in his business that he's not necessarily actively pursuing, that I think he would be amazing at. But anyway, so I'm inspired to inspire him is where I'm going with that, and inspire others to be active, to participate, to be aware, to jump on this crazy ride and join me and learn all the things you can learn. And I know there's people out there that they're like, yeah, I'm not really all that interested in it, Julie. I really don't care. And that's fine. And that's why I've told friends and family members that, you know, if you don't want to be on my Facebook page, this doesn't interest you, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead, leave. I won't be offended. But I am very inspired to inspire others. I don't have a business card here, but my business card says right on it, and I don't remember which order I put them in right now, but it's educate, enlighten, and encourage is kind of my mission, I guess, in life. And one of that is a big part of it is the third eye chakra, because it's, you know, encouraging you to learn all the possibilities of all the things that are around you, and you need your third eye opened to do all of that. All right. So again, there's a million things that people can call themselves, and this is where some of your third eye stuff comes in. And I have more oftentimes than not people come up to me and go, yeah, but what do you do? And it's like, well, it's kind of a hard one to answer, because people are very much with a label. They like labels. They like to know exactly what you are. And I don't necessarily care too much for labels. It's not that I'm opposed to labels or I'm not offended by labels or anything like that. I just find sometimes putting a label on somebody is limiting them to the possibilities of other things. But most people, if you come into the room and say, I'm a psychic, they basically know what you do. If you walk into the room and say, I'm a medium, they know what you do. If you walk into the room and say, I'm an empath, they know what you do. But there are all kinds of other things out there that you can call yourself. Even in some of the groups I've been in, a little sidebar here too, is people are always like, do you call yourself a witch? And I'm like, no. I mean, if you look up the definition of witch, I would fit in there, but that's not really the label or the word I go with. Um, so some people have told me that I'm an empath. I fit into empath categories, but I don't consider myself an empath. So again, anyway, there's lots of different words out there. And so I'm going to use a few of them. And if they resonate with you, that's great. If they don't resonate with you, basically what I'm saying is that's fine as well. Because like I said, a lot of people will tell me, oh yeah, you have empath qualities, but I don't call myself an empath. A lot of people say, oh yeah, you're a witch. And it's like, well, yes, I guess technically I am, but that's not what I call myself. I don't really call myself anything, to be honest with you, but some of the ones are, so like we said it's psychic, medium, empath. Some people will say they are a channeler. Again, that's kind of like a medium in the sort. I just like the word healer. And I am not somebody, I don't do Reiki. I am learning crystal healing and some sound healing. So that is something I'm working on right now. But when I call myself a healer, it's more of the spiritual sense. But by healing your chakras and healing some emotional stuff and spiritual stuff, it is going to help some of the physical stuff as well. Again, not telling you like if you heal your certain chakra that you don't have to take your medicine anymore. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think between modern medicine and the ancient ways, you can put them together and get an even better healing quality, experience, benefit, whatever you want to call it. Again, words sometimes have been changed up in the English language to not really mean what they were meant to mean. So I often struggle with words because the way I feel the meaning is not the way that most people or some people see the meaning as well. So I try to explain the best I can. I am not I didn't go to school to be a teacher or anything like that. And I really hate public speaking. So this whole video thing for me is still very new. I've been doing it almost 2 years now. Yeah, almost 2 years. But it's still pretty new to me. So anyway, back on track. So with your third eye open, you're going to receive more. You can actually start to retrieve things. And with all of that comes along is, again, the people wanting to know what it is you do. What are you called? Things like that. And, we as people tend to get stressed about things like that. We tend to get over analytical about it and things like that. And I guess I'm basically just telling you, don't stress too much about all of that. If a label feels right for you, then use it. If it doesn't feel right for you, then don't use it. And I will tell you, even over the years on this path that I've been on, um, and I've been on and off my whole life, and I think that's probably true for a lot of us. Um, in the early days, I didn't really know what I was. And then in my 20s, because I had so many unanswered questions, that I actually called myself an atheist. Um, but it didn't take me long to realize that that didn't really fit for me at all. That I did believe in something, I just didn't really know what it was. It wasn't necessarily God, as everybody was told that's what we had to do. So again, I kind of went atheist, but didn't take me long to realize that I might not believe in necessarily the one and mighty God, but I do believe in something. And again, for a little while in my 30s, I did kind of call myself a witch, but I didn't really tell anybody that's what I did, because that was very much when we still didn't talk about a lot of stuff. And then as I've gotten a little older and done this a little bit more, if somebody really wants a label, I will call myself a healer. But again, when you say healer, most people think that I'm going to put my hands on them and heal them, which is not necessarily true. I have done a little bit with Reiki, but it's not something that I see as where my path is going to take me for Reiki. I'm much more into the essential oils and the medicinal purposes of those, is where I see more of my path going, in the crystal healing. So that's kind of, but anyway, before we go, we've got a few minutes left, so I did want to quickly go over some of the things. Again, these are words, these are labels. Maybe you don't fit quite into one of them, and maybe you'll be like, oh, well, I actually fit into a couple of them. And again, I think really we all have all of these abilities, but some of them just come a little bit more natural to others. So again, don't get too caught up in the I have that one and I don't have that one kind of thing. I know as humans that's what we do. But anyhow, most of you will probably have heard the word clairvoyance at some point in your life. Maybe you don't know exactly what that means, but you've probably heard it at some point. So clairvoyance is clear seeing. They are the people who see spirits. And I have a tad bit of that. And again, I could probably do lots of things to enhance that. Maybe that'll be next year's thing. Last year we talked about astrology. This year we talked about chakras. Maybe next year we'll talk about the clairs, as I call them. So clairvoyance is clear seeing. So that's when people can see spirits, see past the realm of our dimension, see through the veil, if you want to call it that. They see. Clairaudience is hearing. A lot of times you'll have people who say, I hear them, but I don't see them. And so I've got a tad bit of that too. I have often heard somebody talking to me when there's nobody around. Back to the clairvoyance seeing. A lot of us have that, like you see something over here and then you go to look and there's nothing there. So I pick up on little bits of that. One night I was sitting here watching TV and it was a little thing that came through and moved just like a cat would. And that's again where I need to pick up on my intuition, and I'm like, I think that was my cat Tyler that just walked through here. But so clairvoyance is seeing, clairaudience is hearing. Uh, I haven't heard of her for a while, but there was a woman who used to just yell, not yell, call out like hello. I don't know how many times I've gone to the door thinking that there's someone here, and there's no one here. But I hear the woman, she's like, hello, hello. I don't know who she is. Clairsentience. That is a lot of what I am working on, I guess, right now, is the sensing things, and just trusting that sense. And that's more of that, like that gut feeling people talk about, and people will call it the sixth sense. I don't know if the sixth sense is really true, because there's like all of these things that I'm talking about. And so there's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But the sensing is, a lot of people will call it the sixth sense. It's your intuition, your gut feeling, that thought that pops into your head, things like that, for no random, for no apparent reason. And that's the part for me. It's very tricky to pay attention to that. If I see something, I know I saw something. If I hear something, I know I've heard something. But that sensing things and trusting that you're actually sensing what you think you're sensing is very hard. Because again, it's not seeing, it's not hearing, it's not touching, it's not all of those things. But that is the one I have, and the most, and it's one of, in my opinions, the hardest ones. Clear scent is smell. I have that. And again, these are not things I experience every day. It's not like I leave the house and these things happen to me all day long every day. It's not like that for me. It's more just on occasion here and occasion there and stuff. But there's a lot of times where we'll be sitting in the house and the windows are closed. There's not any candles going. There's no real source of a smell to come through. When I smell roses, that's my gram. When I smell fresh cut wood, that's my grandfather. I smell tobacco, or not, I smell cigarette smoke, and I think that's Eric's dad. But I do smell tobacco, and I'm not quite sure who that is when I smell the actual tobacco. The tobacco smell is different than cigarette smell. It's more of like the mapacho tobacco kind of a smell. So I'm thinking that's got to be maybe an ancestral relative that maybe I never met, or I met and was really young and don't remember. But I think that's more of an ancestral thing, but I'm not really quite sure on that one. But so there are different smells, and again, when I smell that, it's who does that smell bring to you? And I think part of that for me is like I am so connected to the essential oils and the smells, and smells can bring up so many memories and feelings and emotions. And then I smell something in the room, and it's like it brings a person to mind, and so to me that's how I associate that. Clear tangency, and I don't think I said that right, but I don't think I'm reading my own writing correctly, is touch. I do not have that. Again, and I say I don't have that, but again, I think we all have all of them. It's just a matter of practicing and working and refining, becoming better, whatever you want to call it. Touch. I've never experienced that. That's maybe that's a better way of saying it. Not saying I don't have that, saying I have not yet experienced that. Then I ran out of room and had to turn my book sideways. Yeah, I can't read my own writing. I will post a meme of it, because I can't read my own writing. Claire Guntians, I think is, and I'm not sure I'm even saying that right anyway, is taste. That one's pretty rare, but there are people out there who will taste something. They're not eating anything, they're not drinking anything, they don't have Tic Tacs, Lifesavers, gum, anything like that, and then they will taste something. And again, it's that association of the taste with a memory, emotion, a person, that's how that's coming through for them. So again, and I have not experienced that, the tasting thing where you just taste things out of nowhere. But one of the things my gram was really famous for, not really famous, but in our family she was famous for, was fudge. She used to make the most amazing fudge. And so maybe if I was sitting here and out of nowhere I just started to taste her fudge, then I would know she was present with me. Maybe your gram was super famous for apple pie. I don't know, all the different things that grams can be famous for. But maybe there was a special meal you had when you were with your grandfather. You guys always had the same meal. So he maybe necessarily wasn't the one making it, but maybe whenever you went to your grandfather's, maybe you always had some special meal, whatever that was. And so if you taste that when you're obviously not eating the food, that's a good way to know that he would be present with you, so to speak. And then there's clear empath, and that is emotions. And that is when you are picking up on someone else's emotions. Now that can be challenging in its whole other way. And again, maybe this is a good way to think of some things to talk about next year. Is that we'll talk about some videos about the clairs, and get more in depth on each one. But empaths, they have to discern what emotions are theirs and what are not theirs, and what are people in the room and what are people from deceased. And sometimes that can be very challenging for people that are empaths, of clearing out those emotions, because generally when we pick up on other people's emotions, it's usually the heavy ones. It's sadness, it's grief, it's loneliness, and you can pick up on joy and love and happiness, and I think a lot of empaths pick up on that, but that's a good one. Those are good ones, and so those are easy to process and they're easy to deal with and things. But when you are picking up on someone else's grief, sadness, loss, anxiety, stress, depression, all of those things, those are hard for that person to work through. And now somebody else has got to work through that when it's not yours, and you've got to discern whether it is yours or isn't yours. I know a lot of empaths that they get in this, like, I'm so sad, I'm so depressed, I don't want to do anything, I'm tired. And it's like, it's not yours. You've got to stop and think of what is yours and what is not yours, and you've got to find a way to separate that. Now, I don't experience that, so it's very hard for me to explain to an empath how to do that when I have not yet had to do that myself. But I think we all have that little bit of ability. Again, when you walk into a room and you're just like, oh, something's going on here, I'm leaving. that's clear empath. So again, we all get little pieces of these things. and some people can hone those gifts in. But I think where a lot of these gifts are or abilities are things that, for me, they're things I want to experience. I want to grow that. I want to experience that. I want to make it better, easier for me to be able to use these things. A lot of people, when these things come up, they're like, nope, nope, I don't want any part of this. I don't want to do this. I don't, but I will tell you, um, from my experience, I'd be really okay with not experiencing the clear empath abilities, because I have seen where it is very, very hard on people to determine what is theirs and what is not theirs and let things go and things. I experienced just a little bit over the last few weeks with all these different planets in retrograde, of all the different emotions and things that were coming through and energies that were coming through. And I had a really hard time discerning what was mine and what really wasn't mine, in just that little bit of time. And so I can't even imagine what it would be like to be an empath and have to do that every day, all day long. You would really need some super grounding in your life. Some protective stones, grounding, earthing, creating your bubble, all of those things. So I can say that is probably one that I would really rather not practice and try to make something that I would work on a regular basis. But all the other ones, I would welcome them in. So, yeah, I think next year that's a good idea, that we'll talk more about the clairs. Note for next year. So, I hope that in some way or form I have taught you something about what the third eye chakra is, what it's for. And next week we'll talk about things to open your third eye chakra, or again, I'm kind of leaning towards the more of the balance term instead of open, because we don't want to necessarily open things and then have them overactive. We want to just have them balanced, but we don't want them blocked, and we don't want them overactive. So I'm kind of leaning towards the phrase balanced chakras instead of opened chakras. Sorry, my phone's like making all kinds of noise because I have to go to work. So again, I hope I said something that made some sort of sense to you today, something that resonated with you, or something that maybe has sparked some interest in and is going to set you off on your own little, we like to call them rabbit holes, to jump into. So if you have any comments, questions, anything that you want more information on, go ahead and comment below or send me a private message. I'm fine with either way. I don't really care. I don't have a preference one way or the other. It would be nice for some thumbs ups, some shares, and hope everybody has a really good weekend. I think I'm going to be going hiking on Sunday to find some crystals. So if I do, I will show some pictures of that for you if I end up going. It's an early morning thing, and I am not a morning person. They are meeting in a couple of towns over at 6 a.m. That means I have to be up at like 4:30 a.m. It's not really my time. But anyhow, I will share some pictures if I end up going. I'm sure I will, unless it's like pouring or something. But I hope everybody has a really good weekend. I'll see you on Monday morning for our weekly forecast, as usual. Again, questions, comments, let me know. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again. If somebody just wants a card pulled, I'll do that for you. If you have a question, I can work with the pendulum for you. If you've got questions on books, videos to start with, your natal chart, whatever it is for question, go ahead and ask me. And I may not give you all the answers, but I may be able to direct you to somewhere that you can get the answers. I've done a lot of all this research myself already, and so I kind of have got the ones like, okay, I like this one and I don't like this one kind of thing. But different things resonate with different people, so but I can maybe give you some direction to start with. So, all right, I will see everybody on Monday. Again, hope everybody has a really great weekend. Lots of love to everybody, and as always, remember to be kind. Your kindness is not only going to make your day a lot better, it could potentially make somebody else's day better, and it could potentially change somebody's life. A small act of kindness could really change a person's life, and we don't even realize it, kind of the butterfly effect. A little flap of a wing can cause a hurricane or a tornado or whatever this saying is, but your little act of kindness could potentially really change somebody else's life. So, and it doesn't cost you anything. So, even better, right? I will see you guys Monday. Love you. Bye.